well, now we get to the opening of our exhibition, which is very exciting. I have known Sue McKerricker for quite a number of years now. When she first came to Australia, I worked with her on the National Year of Reading. And when we used to have long phone calls, she was in Melbourne, I was in Orange, New South Wales, and we used to discuss who could be advocates for the project we were working on, advocates for reading, ambassadors, whatever you wanted to call it. And I used to suggest people, and because Sue is so professional, she used to go, "Tell me more about them," which was code for she had no idea who I was talking about. And she was new to the country, but she wasn't going to admit that she didn't know that. So Ian Thorpe and Ita Buttrose, Sue knew nothing about you. But when it came to Bob Brown, she knew straight away who he was. And that is because no introductions are needed, just to say that Bob is an environmentalist, a statesman, and for many of us, a true hero. And it is our great pleasure to ask him to open this exhibition this evening.
Well, thank you, Jan, and thank you, Sue. It's my great delight and honour to be able to open this exhibition on the State Library of Tasmania. Both its plans, its visions, but also the remarkable place that it is, a remarkable repository of our past, our present, and visions of our future that this library is. I came to Tasmania in 1972 to look at Lake Pedder, and there's going to be a remarkable revival there in times to come. But in 1975, I had joined the State Library, and I was a frequent user of the Northern Regional Library in Launceston. And I was going up the stairs of the library, and there was a bearded character coming down the stairs, and he said, "Are you Bob Brown?" It's very difficult to say no to a question like that. But it ended up, he had been trying to get lots of people to raft down the Franklin River, and nobody was so silly. He'd picked the right person. And next year we floated down the Franklin River, and it changed my life, and it confirmed everything I felt about Tasmania and a remarkable place it has in a planet which is extraordinarily beautiful, is under enormous duress, and which, due to our Aboriginal custodianship, and then the fact that we couldn't, the modern industrial revolution couldn't get to it fast enough, has so much of its natural history still intact. And of course that's going to be an ongoing source of community interest down the line. And it was interesting to me to see in the first display case here on the left a red T-shirt of UTG with the UTG insignia under. That's the United Tasmania Group, which was the world's first Greens Party, set up at a meeting in the Hobart Town Hall on the 23rd of March 1973. And I found the whole thing fascinating, including the Aboriginal population which was here, but which was at that time said to have been extinct. Well, they've made it very clear that they're not, that they're here. And Jim Everett, who's mentioned on the poster up the back there, is down south at the moment. This remarkable Aboriginal man who's now 81. I like it when he's in the room because there's somebody older than me there. He's a poet. He was a former fisherman and worked in construction and so on, but he's studying the Aboriginal culture and putting it into new words. And this is an extraordinary, and he sent me a letter just this week about he won't mind me telling you this, about coming up to the Tarkina wilderness if they go ahead with a waste dump up there, because he wants to test the fact that Aboriginal people are their own people. They're not part of the so-called sovereign Australia, and can't tell him what to do in terms of standing in defence. And it'll be interesting to see that unfold. But it just struck me in talking with folk here today, that letter he sent me is itself a little piece, and an important piece, an exposition of Aboriginal state of play with society and with the land and the seas in Tasmania in 2023. Just after I went down the Franklin, I spent some time on the floor at Liffey putting together a remarkable book, and the first two copies of which, they were foolscap and they were stapled down the left-hand side, I took into the library, and I hope they're still in the collection, called 500 Peaks of Tasmania, listing them in order of sight. Now, I disclaim that I'm obsessive or compulsive, but nevertheless, there was the book, and my first little foray into producing books. But what was remarkable to me was this storehouse, and what is remarkable to me, the history of it. So the first state library in Australia, the Melburnians insist that it was the State Library of Victoria in 1854, but the library was up here in Macquarie Street, and Barrack, or corner of Davey and Barrack, up in Barrack Street in 1849. They called it the Tasmanian Public Library. This is 5, 6, 7 years before Tasmania was officially called Tasmania, you know, Van Diemen's Land, until the mid-1850s. Then that library closed in 1867 because it ran out of money. May that never befall the library again. But it moved to the town hall, then through funding from the very wealthy Mr. Carnegie in America, moved to the Carnegie building, and then in 1943, the state libraries, well, early 1940s, the state libraries legislation was passed, and this building was part of that legislation. And so in 1962, this state library building was opened, and then later, a decade later, a concrete tower behind that, very forbidding concrete tower just over there. But in that, and now the repository across the river, is the most remarkable record. I read in the descriptions of the library 2 kilometres of shelves of information about Tasmania. This includes, of course, works from Tasmanians, written in Tasmania, not necessarily about Tasmania, but product of Tasmania, and a remarkable collection of posters and T-shirts. There's a poster over there which includes Jim Everett and a number of Aboriginal people having a get-together to proclaim their presence and to build on their rights in Tasmania. These are very precious documents, and I think that there is no other collection like it. And we've heard from our recipients of the awards for looking further into those documents, what remarkable information can come out of them. The tower at the back, by the way, not to be outdone, I'm told, has 7 kilometres of records in it. Just think about that. I had a bookshelf collapse the other day, and the books fall all over the floor from the compounded weight of facts on that shelf. But just think about that, 7 kilometres of it. And much of it being, as we heard, being digitised and made instantly available. What a fantastic job you people do. What a wonderful job you do in enriching, informing, and bringing happiness to a community which otherwise would be ignorant of so much of what makes us, of what forms us, of what our forebears contributed to this island and who we are now, and also the visions for the future. It's just a phenomenal, unique, irreplaceable, I won't call it institution because I think it's more than that, place of human knowledge, memory and imagination. So congratulations to all you people who have made this not only be such an important asset for the world, but now I can feel the on the move. We're on the move again for a new chapter. I'm just a banal Presbyterian from way back, and I wouldn't mind seeing escalators out there where the stairs are. I'd put that up first, but there's much more important things ahead of that, I can tell you. This is the best exhibition space in this remarkable collection. You know, I don't know that they had 7 kilometres of shelf space in the Great Library of Alexandria, but here it is, and so much more of it should be out for the delight of the public, both Tasmanians and visitors alike. So that should be and must be an item on the agenda. Why not a theaterette, so that we could be sitting down and listening in comfort, not only to events like this, but of course to the revelations of the work that comes out of here. And Alison said to me coming in that she was here in 1964 when the library opened, and how exciting it was. Well, a bit of that excitement's in the air again, and I hope to be one of those who contributes to this addition, the accessibility of the public to hear what's here, but also the ability of those who know what's here to tell us about it, to present it in this magnificent age of media, beyond capabilities, beyond anything we'd have dreamt of when I was a kid. So it's exciting to be here. It's a terrific venture. This exhibition is going to be on display for quite a while, isn't it?
June.
Till June, and it's going to be changing. So tell people to come along and have a look. They'll be intrigued by it, and it might just lead them to want to know more about what's in those archives and records and the panoply of sources of information that affects them or that they can find delight in. And I have the greatest pleasure in declaring this exhibition open. Thank you all.